Presented by Parkview Sports Medicine and airing exclusively on MyTV Fort Wayne.
For our ceremonial puck draw.
Well, back at the West Banco Arena in Wheeling, West Virginia, Kent Horman and Chris Treft just about set to go for tonight's ECHL game between the Komets and the homestanding Nailers, and they're having a ceremonial puck drop before they officially drop the biscuit here in Wheeling.
9 points in 70 games. Last season's for Evansville. He's played with Ontario and the Iceman this year. He was also teammates with Matt Duchesne back in junior with the Brampton Battalion. So he is a very talented player. He comes in to help out this short-handed Komets team, and like you said, things are brewing. And those players to be named later might be named here soon.
William Lacasse
Come out of your defensive zone.
Against Wheeling. The Nailers are 4-0 against Fort Wayne. 3 of those victories coming at the Coliseum. So here we go. The teams come to center ice, and we are just about set to play hockey. Kenton Miller going up against Sahir Gill. The early draw is controlled by the Nailers, dumped into the Comet zone. Hartman races behind the K's net, tries to bust ahead with speed. Miller crosses center ice where he's rubbed off the play. Carter, as he fights along the boards, stepped into that time was Carter by Gill. K's though with some numbers and a shot that time by Hartman breaking in, sails over the top of the goal. Now Carter behind the net, can't quite control. Gill, a dangerous pass in front, intercepted, and oh, what a bid that time by Ouellette to score.
So close, a bad bounce right in the slot, and a good move by Ouellette, and the Komets almost had the early lead.
Well, here in the first 30 seconds, a good forecheck by the Komets. Ouellette put some pressure on. Now the puck comes out ahead, and here come the Nailers. That's just feathered into the Komet zone. There'll be a line change, and controlling, looking for the quick breakout. Here come the Komets.
I think the first goal is going to be very important in this game. Both teams have high winning percentages with scoring the first goal. Wheeling's only lost a couple of games all season after scoring the first, so that first goal is going to be huge here tonight.
Marino pinches in but can't quite control, so Courier briefly had it, tries to cross the blue line, barely does, but turning back the other way. Right now the teams are playing the body, and again a great forecheck that time by Marino, can't quite control, and here come the Nailers looking to come in with numbers. Into the Komet zone, back checking is Marino. He tries to take his player, Terrier off the play, and the Komets look to break out again. Southhorn leading the charge. That time he has his pocket picked by Cody Sylvester.
Excellent back check there by Sylvester, using the hustle, get a good stick lift, and getting the puck. Komets get it right back and send it in.
Well, there was a pass intended to go back to the point, but it wound up right on the stick that time to Sylvester. Kay's doing a great job in the short neutral zone. A shot right down the pipe that time. Martini puts it right on, and a good save that time by Condon. We've played 1 minute and 50 seconds, and already some pretty quick pace, Chris.
Yeah, it's a very fast-paced game so far. No feeling out for these teams. They're not real familiar with each other. Only played twice. Both 2 wins for Wheeling. The last one was in overtime on a goal by former Komet Ratchuk.
Nutkevitch in on the draw against Baker, and again the puck is chipped ahead. Glove down that time as the K's control, and again into the zone, but a little too strong, and that'll be an icing called against the Komets. So the K's now have a line out of Cy Nutkevitch, Sean Szydlowski, and Kaylee Schrock, and of course with the call-up of Scott Fleming, head coach Gary Graham has had to retool his lines a little bit, and really no scratches for the K's tonight, all hands on deck.
Yeah, I know, I was making the joke earlier. I asked who the scratches were for Fort Wayne, you said, well, there are none, because that's true, because a short-handed Komets roster, but they've done it before, and they've got wins doing so.
Draw right back to the point that time by Baker, and a good shot right on by Jake Arashenko, steered away that time by Meisner. Now the Komets look to clear, pinching along the boards, and that time McGrath tries to step into his player, but the K's get it ahead. A quick shot right on by Schrock from the high hash mark, and again, that's right into the body of Condon, and there'll be a whistle and a face-off.
Another save by Condon. This guy coming back down from the American Hockey League. He was up in Hamilton, got a cup of coffee up there. He's an excellent goalie. He started the season so strong for Wheeling. He comes back down from the AHL, like I said, and he's played fantastic. He's their number 1, and they're riding him.
Now that time Miller, who reverses his stick, he's a natural left-hander, doesn't quite win the draw. Mulvey tries to chip it past Lacasse, who does a good job of standing him up. Hartman rings it around the boards. It goes back to the point, and a shot deflected goes just past Meisner. K's try to control behind their own net. Hartman looks to break out ahead to Carter. Carter just a little softball toss, a high hopper, and it's gloved. that time by the goaltender Condon, and some pleasantries being exchanged right now by Stevenson. We talked about a little physical hockey right off the hop, and the conversation continues between Kenton Miller and Stevenson.
I wouldn't mess with Miller. He's a good old farm boy from Western Canada. He's a tough guy. I haven't seen him much this year, but I think if the opportunity arises, he might be able to throw the fisticuffs.
Miller on the draw. So here, Gill back to Carter. He fans on it. Mulvey will break out. He tries to squeeze around Lacasse and manages to slide by a little bit. Lacasse, though, barrel rolls him into the boards. And now Ouellette looks to play right near the circle. Miller and Hartman. Miller comes away with the puck. Now across ice it goes to Carter. Carter is stood up that time with authority by Chin Freeney. And here come the Nailers back the other way. Gill pinches along the boards, tries to center, intercepted by the Komets, and here come the K's breaking out. Ouellette backhands a high shot into the corner. Chris Auger pursues, bumps his man off the play, D'Agostino. Now again, the Komets doing a great job of pinching in. Great play by Marino at the half wall. Nailers look to chip it out. Big body check that time delivered by Marino, so Marino gets roughed up. Auger steps in to defend his line mate. And here's Southhorn breaking in, cross-ice pass, doesn't find a home, and then Ruop stepped into Southhorn, and he delivers a big hit on Ruop. So the physicality is picking up early. We've played about 3 minutes and 40 seconds. No score here at Westbanco Arena. The Komets and the Wheeling Nailers. Chris Treff, Kent Horman, glad you could join us here on MyTV, your network for Komet road games. Now the Nailers try to cycle it back out. There's a pass in the high slot. That time Sylvester had it, looks for a mate. A little bit of a scramble in front, comes back to the point. Ratchuk, the former Komet, loses control. Kay's still having problems clearing, and that time Embach smacks it off the boards. Winds up back in the Komet zone. Simone Danis-Pépin goes clear across ice, and now Auger spins it into the corner. Embach pursuing Ratchuk, bumps him off the play, but cycling behind the net is Baker. He starts out, stepped into by Nutkevitch, who bounces off of him. Now it's deep in the Komet zone where Martini is given a rough ride by Patrick McGrath. Hayes looked to break out. Here's the captain, Kaylee Schrock in the off wing. Backhander right on and smothered that time by Condon.
Smart play by Schrock there, coming down the left wing. Didn't have really anything, but he had troops coming, going hard to the net, just play it in front, hope to get a good bounce and get a rebound, but the hot goaltender, Condon, makes the save.
So it'll be the Nutkevitch line out there. Still with Schrock and Szydlowski. Going against Baker. He's trying to chip it back, but the defense was backing up a little bit. Right now, everybody is finishing their checks. Yeah. So this is the first of 3 games in 4 nights for the Komets. It seems like they've been gone forever, and of course they have a couple of weeks with the circus being in town in Fort Wayne. But the Komets at the Coliseum Friday against Elmira, then Saturday they make a big road trip to another key division rival, the tops in the division, Cincinnati.
Those are some big games, and hopefully they can ride some momentum from this one and come away with a victory.
Now Jace Coyle comes across to Szydlowski in that short neutral zone. And on the off wing, here comes Nutkevitch. Slides by the defender. He's tripped to the ice right in front, and Schrock can't tip it home. Coyle retreats back to the point. Tries to fire one on, but it deflects off of one of the Nailers, and Schrock steps into his man as the Komets keep it in. Now the former Komet Ratchuk circles out of his zone. Long pass is just chipped behind the Komet zone as the Nailers go for a line change. That time Tyler Fernandez just let it glance off his stick, so fresh troops on the ice. Ouellette tries to play it along the boards. He's pinched off by Gill. Between the legs pass by Miller. Nobody home there, and here comes Mulvey with speed on the right wing. Tries to get it past his defender, Kent, as Lacasse bumps him off, and now the Komets look for another breakout. Just feathered off the boards that time by Ouellette, and Fort Wayne will be called offside.
You know, something we haven't talked about is, we're talking about the short lineup for Fort Wayne, but Wheeling, they're a team with 2 affiliates. They have guys in and out of the lineup all the time, so their coach constantly having to shuffle around lines, and it's really hard to get chemistry when you have players coming in and out of the lineup all the time. Their leading scorer, he's up in the AHL right now, and so, they got to find some chemistry here and maintain it throughout the season.
Yeah, Wheeling, not surprisingly, affiliated with Pittsburgh, which isn't far away from here. Also Colorado, and the man in goal, Condon, is a Montreal pro. Southhorn does a great job of pinching in. Marino tried to feed it back that time, but just missed Embach, so the puck goes back to the blue line. Danis-Pépin briefly rotated. Good pass to Embach, but it's chipped off of his stick and at the blue line. But there is a delayed offside. Komets clear the zone. Now it's pinching again along the wall. Looking to bring it out is Sahir Gill. Back behind the Komets zone where Meisner leaves for Simon Danis-Pépin. Now Pépin, well, as he tries to pass it, it goes off the skate of the Nailers player, Carrier, and it wound up right at the doorstep of Meisner. Komets having a little trouble clearing, and again, good pressure that time by Jack McClellan, and then a good hit. So the Komets are paying the price physically. Marino loses an edge and goes down as D'Agostino brings it back up and clears for the Nailers. They dump it in deeply. It rings all the way around the boards. Again, a big hit delivered against Martini that time by Big Carrier. Now the Komets dump it in. Carter tries to send it out to the point, but actually it went right to Willette. Now it comes out to Jace Coyle. Coyle tries to put it right on, and it's steered away that time by the goaltender Condon.
Good shot there by the assist machine, Jace Coyle, but Komets just couldn't get a stick on the rebound.
Now Jace Coyle, who has some great wheels, retreats, gets it ahead to Willette. Willette just tries to serve it on goal and at the side of the net. Condon puts the big mitt on the puck, so we have 12 minutes and 36 seconds to go in what has been a fast-paced first period. The
TV Fort Wayne, presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.
Welcome back to My Komets on My TV. Off the draw, it winds back up in the Komets zone where Coyle comes across to his defensive mate. Martini tries to put it ahead. Tell you what, there's a lot of traffic in the neutral zone because it's a small neutral zone. Schrock fires it deep into the corner. Now racing in is Szydlowski. Szydlowski is bumped by Radchuk. Gets it back to the point. Martini comes cross ice. Coyle shot right on, and it's kicked out of there that time by Condon. Quality shot that time from the point. Now looking to break out of the Nailers. That winds up off the skate that time of Colin Mulvey. And that time Coyle can't work it ahead. There is a little concern, I think, with the hardness of the ice. We've seen a couple of players lose edges. Embach races in with speed. Now he turns around, cycles back. Again, doing a little dipsy-doodle. Knocked to the ice that time by Radchuk. Maybe could have been a bit of a cross-check, but no call. And now it's dumped into the Komets zone where Danis-Pépin will work on Sylvester.
Sylvester, one of the hottest players in the league. In fact, the hottest. He's the player of the week last week. 5 goals in just 3 games, including 3 game winners. That's just unbelievable. This kid's on fire. He's a rookie. The Komets have to shut him down tonight.
Now back in the Nailers zone. Quickly snapped ahead, but nobody there. So Southhorn controls for the Komets. Danis-Pépin tried to find Willette, but that wound up right with Sylvester's stick. He was in the middle of the passing lane. Delayed offside, so the Komets have a little time to clear. Now Southhorn looks for Auger, a little bit behind him. So a lot of stuff going on right now in neutral ice. Ruop fires ahead, and that time it was just chipped in by Sylvester as he goes for a line change. Now working behind the net, Carrier tried to backhand a pass through the middle. Nobody there, and here comes Embach as he enters the Komet zone. His pass intended for Auger knocked down, but Southhorn puts it right on Willette. Oh, it's just kicked aside that time by Condon. Komets again with great pressure. They have had the better of the shot so far. They have outshot them 7-2. That time Hartman fans on a drive from the point, and here come the Nailers back the other way. It's just dumped in that time by Tyler Fernandez behind the net. Southhorn pays the price as he takes the hit that time from Baker. Komets having trouble clearing. Now it's Baker at the half wall.
The last one hit off the skate of the referee and popped right into a prime scoring area for Wheeling. Whew.
Well, a little dipsy-doodle backhand play by Patrick McGrath as he did a little backhand job as he was falling to the ice. Now it's back to the point. Komets still can't clear, and there is a shot right on by Shane Baker, and it's gloved by Ben Meisner. Again, we've got a break here at the West Banco Arena. 9:54 to go in the opening stanza. The Komets and the Nailers are scoreless. You're watching My Komets on My TV.
Kason's Fifth Down Bar and Grill.
Coming out of the timeout, again, the teams jam at center ice. Now back in the Komet end, Lacasse tries to come cross ice to the captain, Schrock. He slips by his defender, centers in front, but Gill intercepts the pass intended for Szydlowski. Now Gill will turn and just backhanded high off the glass where it's chipped away by Lacasse and dumped in by Schrock as he goes for a line change. Now Gill behind his own net starts the breakout. Nobody really in the zone. And again, the pass is just feathered ahead as McKay dumps it into the Komets zone. Now the Nailers go for a full line change. 9 minutes to go in period one from Wheeling, and we are scoreless. That long pass just glanced off the stick of Carter, so no icing, but Carter is stepped into heavily by Harrison Ruop. Now you can tell both teams have hops in their step because it's the first game of the week, and they know the importance of this one. Wheeling leading Fort Wayne by 2 points for the 8th and final playoff spot in the East.
Both teams know the importance of this game, and that both teams are coming off 2 days' rests.
Now Carter tries to work again past Ruop. Oh, he is hit heavily from behind that time by McClellan. But right now you can tell the Komets are willing to pay the price. Coyle, fine rushing defenseman, breaks over the blue line, tries to fire ahead. Willett just lets it go off of his stick. The goaltender Condon leaves it for Ratchuk. Komets doing a great job pinching along the boards and giving up the body along the blue line. Now Fernandez. Stevenson comes across that time to Eroshenko. Now into the Komet zone. Again, another heavy hit that time by the Nailers. That time it was applied to Souther. Score for the Komets as they came back the other way. What great teamwork, and the Komets finally go upstairs on Condon Chris, and they get the first goal of the match.
It looked like a broken play. They came in the zone kind of sloppy, just rolled off Embach's stick. But nobody was there for Wheeling. Play kept going. Danis-Pépin came in, picked up the loose puck, and shows why he was a second-round pick by Chicago a couple years back as he rifles it over the glove of Condon. Absolute snipe from Pépin, a defenseman. He gets his third goal of the season, so he hasn't put many biscuits in the basket, but he does so there, getting a very important first goal. I talked about it earlier. The first goal is important, and the Komets have it. Let's see if they can converge.
Well, Danis-Pépin at 12:07 gives the Komets the 1-0 lead.
Assisted by number 15, Mike Embach, and number 10, Jordan.
Mike Embach and Jordan Southhorn, who I was just talking earlier, paid the price with that big hit to start the play from his own end, pick up the assists.
Komets are 14-6-7 when they score the first goal, so pretty good winning percentage.
So Danis-Pépin from Embach and Southhorn at 12:07, 1-0 Komets. Now trying to weave through. That time is Szydlowski, but it's tipped back to neutral ice where Martini controls for the K's. He goes across to Coyle, who just whistles it around the boards. Condon could not put a big stick on it. Miller pinches in, keeps the puck alive. Ratchuk behind his own net, fires across to his defensive partner, Paul Chinfrini. Komets are doing a great job of clogging up that shorter neutral zone. And again, they've dominated the shot so far, 8-3. We're under the 7-minute mark in the first period. Simone Danis-Pépin's third goal of the season has given the K's the 1-0 lead. Now Willett along the half wall. Tries to move it ahead. Miller wasn't quite looking for it. Now here comes Ruop, who just recently returned to the team. Fires a cross-ice pass, and it's picked out of midair that time by a racing in Sylvester. His shot whistles all the way around the boards and winds up behind the Wheeling goal.
He is just booming with confidence. You can tell, making little plays like that, knocking it in the midair, just making smart little plays that, you know, when you're struggling or in a slump, you wouldn't make. But he has confidence right now, and you can just see it.
Well, he's only 21 years old, so
bright future.
Yeah, he's got some wheels and he's got some talent.
Former Calgary hitman, Western Hockey League, had 90 points in his last junior year.
Now Marino to Embach, plays it neatly off his skates, and again, Pépin was bidding for his second goal. Missed the shot, and he was given a rough ride that time by Ruop. Now behind his net, Baker tries to control, but Embach is stepped right into that time by Ruop. Ruop is playing the body a lot here in the first period. Now Marino.
Maybe that's why he's got a call up to the AHL. He's playing physical, playing good defensively.
Yeah, I think he's one of the players who just recently returned to Wheeling. Now Southhorn surveys the situation, backhands it behind his own goal, where waiting at the high boards was Marino, feeds it back. Danis-Pépin to Southhorn. He goes cross ice, and he's got Marino. Great pass. Marino, little dipsy doodle. Racing in with speed that time was Nutkevitch. And now he'll try the big forecheck, which turns into a back check. Martini back in his own zone. It's been a very fast-paced first period. The Komets have the lone goal, that by Simone Danis-Pépin, coming at the 12:07 mark. Schrock puts pressure on Eroshenko. Breaking back the other way is Sahir Gill. Tries to find Mulvey on his wing. Now it's Gill racing in, just a little bit ahead of Martini. Sahir Gill tries to center, nobody there, and here come the Komets breaking out again. Head manning it comes to Szydlowski, snaps the shot off the blocker that time of Condon up into the screen, and that'll call for a stoppage. We have 4:43 to go in the opening period. The K's are on the board, leading Wheeling by the score of 1-0. You are watching my Komets on my TV.
This game at 1-0. Ooh, almost another one.
Miller won it back to Lacasse, and that shot was redirected, and Condon had to be ready. Now Willett tries to keep it alive. The K's are just doing a superb job in the neutral zone, clogging up the passing lanes. Naylor's trying to look for some breakouts, but the Komets have thwarted them so far as the clock winds down to 4 minutes to go in this opening period. Lacasse, that time given a rough ride in the corner, but he moves it ahead. Now Carter controls. Cross ice he comes, and here is Willett. Now Willett tries to feed it through the slot. That time Nutkevitch can't quite keep the handle on it, but the K's right at the half wall. Oh, a little toe drag by Carter that time. Beautiful play. Now Miller behind the net. Tries to cycle it back out to the point. Lacasse just bounces it off the boards where Carter waits. Bumped off the play that time and centered that time to Carrier. Carrier looks to break out but has to gain control of the puck, so he just backhands it into the Komet zone, and Wheeling goes for a change. Komets have a little room to operate. Danis-Pépin takes the hit, takes a look at his man, and a little conversation between Danis-Pépin that time and Shane Baker. Now Southorn breaks through the middle, looks for a seam by one man as he slides past Baker. Baker with the long stick manages to pry the puck away, and ahead it comes to Fernandez, who tries to break in. The Komets again poke it back to neutral ice, where Baker, the high backhander, goes up off the netting, so we'll have a face-off near center ice.
Got us 9-iron there and just sit that one up in the netting from the neutral zone.
Well, we've had no penalties so far in a fast-paced first period. Simone Danis-Pépin has the lone goal, giving the Komets the 1-0 lead, that coming at the 12:07 mark. And the Komets have carried the play to the Nailers, out shooting them 10-3. Auger and Baker for the draw. Baker wins it cleanly back to his zone, and again, Tyler Fernandez just dumps it ahead, where Southorn slips the check of Baker and then slips another check that time, as McGrath was looking to step into him. Now it's caromed in off the boards, and Marino can't control, so that'll be icing called against the Komets with 2:44 to go here in the opening period.
Well, speaking of your comment, you were talking about no power plays nor penalties so far, and that might be a good thing for both teams, because both their specialty teams have struggled as of late. So if this got into a penalty-filled affair, I think both teams might feel uncomfortable with it, because none of them really have any confidence with the man advantage.
Well, face-off so important in your own zone. Auger does a good job of jousting the puck away from Gill, and Embach dumps it into the zone. That time Stevenson loses an edge. He goes heavily into the boards. Nailers circle in their own zone. Eroshenko comes cross ice off the boards. They're going to say that was touched that time by McKay, so no icing. Now Wheeling intercepts. Meisner has to be ready. Centering pass that time, a little too strong for Mulvey. Kept in that time by Chinfrini. Now the Komets again look for a breakout, and here comes the pass. That time it's played by Nutkevitch. He loses an edge as he goes to the ice, so I wonder if the ice conditions are a little bit soft here at Westbanco Arena. Quick shot that time right on by Mulvey and into the belly of the Komet goaltender Meisner. And I'll tell you what, he hasn't seen really many shots here in the first period. 2 minutes even to go. That's when sometimes you can be fooled by a little quickie.
Get him a pretzel down there. He's bored. He's got to figure out something to do. But great job there. It comes out to the top of his crease. Nothing to shoot at there. As he comes out and cuts down the angle, makes the easy save right in the Komet logo.
Now Komet's doing a pretty good job with the face-offs in their own end, and again it's back to the point. Ruoff has it. Big drive. There's a maze of players in front. That whistle's wide. Now Carter throws a body check on D'Agostino, but the K's still can't clear the zone. And a lot of traffic behind the Komet goal. Swooping in is Miller. He's looking to play. Lacasse trying to take the puck away from Carrier. Good job that time by Willett to slip his check as Hartman. Well, he's trying to go left, trying to go right, but he's surrounded by Nailers. 3 Wheeling players behind the net, so somebody has to be free if the K's can just find a way to break out. So obviously Wheeling dialing up the forecheck. Now the Komets do break it out. And here is Willett. Willett just tries to chip it ahead, fans on it. Ruoff had a stick on it. Now it caroms back into the zone where it's quickly headmanned, and Sylvester with a quick shot, and again, Meisner had to be ready. And little extracurriculars afterwards as the Komets really have to protect their goaltender, Meisner, and quite truthfully, we were talking to some of the Wheeling people, and they said if there's one thing, the Nailers don't really have the reputation for crashing the net like many other teams do, like C. Kalamazoo.
Yeah, well, I mean, look at all the shots you've seen so far in this game. They've all been from the outside, the high point, and the perimeter. Fort Wayne is doing a great job of keeping them out of the house, as we call it, right in the middle of the slot area, all the way to the goal.
Gill wins the draw from Auger, and Stevens' shot is steered away with the blocker of Meisner. We have a minute to go in the opening period. Komets hanging on to the 1-0 lead, but the Nailers have dialed up the pressure. McKay tries a little dipsy-doodle to get it back to the point where it's dumped in behind the Komet zone. Rung around the boards that time by Southhorn, but it's kept in by the Nailers. Komets have to clear the zone. That time Gill is stepped into by Southhorn. That almost could have been an interference call, but they're letting him play just in front of the net. And that time Sahir Gill couldn't finish it off. Down to the final 30, and it finally clears the zone. The red-hot Sylvester comes cross-ice to Eroshenko. Now it's into the Komet zone. Danis-Pépin just serves it ahead to center ice down to the final 18. Again, the Nailers know they've really put pressure on the Komets the final 2 minutes. Kind of a lazy cross-ice pass. Marino back to Danis-Pépin, comes across to Southhorn. Down to the final 5 seconds, Southhorn just flips it ahead, 2-1, and that will do it for the first period of play here at the Westbanco Arena. A spirited first period, largely controlled by the Komets. They put great pressure on the Wheeling net early and often, and it resulted in the lone goal of the period coming off the stick of Simone Danis-Pépin. We'll take our first intermission break. Komets lead Wheeling 1-0. You're watching My Komets on My TV.
Back to My Komets Hockey on My TV Fort Wayne, presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.
Well, back at the Westbanco Arena, Chris Treff, Ken Horman, second period just getting underway as the puck was dumped into the Wheeling zone, then a whistle and a face-off, and that time Auger tries to control back, but Wheeling gets the handle, and here come the Nailers. Turned away that time was Carrier, and here comes Marino trying to serve it ahead to Embach. He circles. Now back to the point. Danis-Pépin, who has the lone goal of the game. Looked like he just dragged the puck across the blue line, and a quick whistle and a face-off.
Just a bit outside the zone. Yeah, but right before we got back a little late, a good shot to start the period. The Komets nearly got a goal almost 10 seconds into the period. Carter had a good shot from the left face-off circle. Good stop by Condon. 11th shot of the game.
Puck is controlled back by the Nailers, and now Wheeling looking to break out to put some quick pressure on the Komets. Gloved by Meisner as he hauls down the high shot, and there'll be a face-off in the Komet zone. Our referee tonight is Pierre Lambert, and the linesmen are Zach Roberts and Justin Ekman.
Well, our scouting report on Lambert is he doesn't like to call very many penalties. He likes to let the boys play, and that prognostication came to fruition here as he hasn't called anything yet.
And a quick shot right on off the draw, and again, smothered by the body of Meisner as it was drawn back to the point, and D'Agostino with a quick drive. Komets now have an 11-8 advantage in shots on goal.
Meisner's really starting to come into his own. He has a record of 6-10-1, and that's really not a testament to how well he's played. His goals against is 2.51 save percentage, .913, and I'm expecting those numbers to skyrocket because he's an excellent goaltender. Just had some bad luck here in his first couple weeks with the Komets. Playing pretty well, though.
Auger controls the draw. Now Danis-Pépin serves it around the boards. A little too strong for Marino. Kept in by Ruoff. Behind the net, chased down by Sylvester. Southhorn races in, evades that check, and again a soft shot is just lobbed on goal. Meisner gloves it at the side of the net, so he will safely take the face-off. Well, it's interesting because you and I were at the front of the bus on the ride over here. Gary Graham sitting right next to us, and he was reflecting on the fact that he thinks he's got that solid goaltender he's been looking for now in Meisner. Obviously, John Muse was supposed to carry the load, but he was called up after opening night, so he said it was a tough deal to make because he had to give up Phil Mangan, and he really, really liked him.
He did.
And he said he wouldn't mind having him as a player again down the line, and in hockey you just never know.
Sometimes you got to trade away those guys you really like to get another piece that you might really like as well. That's just the business. That's hockey. But it's paid dividends so far. Meisner's playing outstanding.
He's really started to step the game up. Coyle with a bad angle shot, and that's off the pad that time of Condon. Karams clear back out into center ice. Now cycling around, ahead it goes to Szydlowski. Szydlowski evades the one check, gets past Baker, dumps it into the corner. Again, the physicality of this game, I think, continues to amp up just a little bit. We'll see what happens here in period 2. Now Szydlowski tried to backhand the pass, but he fanned on it. And the Nailers looking to put some pressure on. Heavy check delivered by Fernandez, comes back to center, gets underneath the glove of Chinfrini, and the goaltender Condon has to race out to play it. Now Chinfrini circles around his net, comes to center, fires right on, and the low shot is gloved by Meisner as he leaves for Martini. Long pass ahead, and it's right on, just glances off the stick of Carter, and it's steered away that time. Now Carter at the side of the net. Oh, it squibs off his stick back to the point. Hartman tries to snap it. That goes high. Kay's putting some early pressure on here in period 2, kept in by Lacasse. Now behind the net, Carter fights for it. Carter loses an edge, thought he was hit from behind, looks over at Pierre Lambert, but the arm is yet to come up in this one. Again, Hartman pays a heavy price, not only once but twice, as now Mulvey steps into him. And here come the K's ahead. Willette with a little toe drag, tries to go cross ice, heavy traffic. Miller looks to chop it down, and a whistle does blow. They'll say it was played with a high stick, so the face-off will come outside of the Wheeling zone. 1-0 Komets, 17-19 to go here in period 2.
You know, something I've noticed the Komets are doing in the defensive zone, and I think it's really messing with Wheeling, is their wingers, instead of playing up at the high point, they're really coming down to about the hash marks or below, and that gives an extra 2 feet for an outlet pass for the defenseman. They're coming around the net, and they have men wide open. The wingers are low. When they catch that pass, they have about 2 feet to skate before they can make a play. More time to make a decision. Less time to be able to force a turnover. So Wheeling's defensemen are going to have to start coming down lower to pinch off those forwards and really take away their time and space, because Fort Wayne is coming out of their zone with absolute ease. And that's really leading to their offensive production so far, because they're coming into the zone with speed. There's no neutral zone, so you fly right through there. You cross all 3 lines in a flash. And so Wheeling's really needed to make an adjustment, or it might be a long night for them.
McClellan in on the face-off and sweeps it away from Auger on the drop. They had to repair a soft spot right near center ice, so I think the texture of the ice will continue to be a factor in this one. Marino drops it back to Simone Danis-Pépin, who has the game's lone goal, and he leaves it dangerously behind the net, but collected by Southorn, who starts the breakout. Backhand pass ahead, hops briefly over the stick of Auger. He tries to chase it down, but Harrison Ruopp collects for the Wheeling Nailers. Kept in at the point by Southorn. He serves it behind the goal. Auger tries to run it down at the half board, but it comes back to center, and here comes Fernandez ahead for Wheeling. Snaps that. That goes wide of the net. Now along the half wall, it's back to the point. Goes off the skate of Marino. A little pop-up that's gloved by Auger, and he crosses the blue line. Comes back, a big drive. Oh, that was steered aside by the stick of Condon on a quick shot by Marino. Good setup for the ECHL's leading scorer. He tries to center to Auger, but it gets past him, and breaking back out is the red-hot Cody Sylvester. Big drive into the mitt that time of Meisner, and he will leave. And again, the Nailers are nailing everybody in a white uniform with the orange shoulders as they're finishing their checks. Martini had to pay the price on that hit. Now Coyle races into the corner, just chips it ahead, and again he is hit behind the play on the big body check that time by Courier. So I think the Nailers feel they're going to have to really start playing the body. Dumped into the Komet zone. Meisner looked to move the puck away, and he just holds on for the whistle and the face-off. And again, the extracurriculars are picking up after the whistle.
Especially when you got McGrath on the ice. The kid's got 27 games played, 131 penalty minutes. So he's up to no good when he's on the ice, to say the least.
Well, Wheeling has a couple of players who, if they have to, they'll go. They'll try to carry the play a little bit and get something going to pick up the team. Komets don't back down from anybody. Well, that time the draw is cleanly won by Baker, but it's too strong. Now the Komets race down and get the puck. Again, losing an edge that time was Szydlowski. Now they look to ring it around the boards to the point. Coyle keeps it in. Leaves it back for Schrock. Schrock tries to dump it deep into the corner. Skating by the puck that time was Carrier. Big drive right on by Schrock, and It's gloved again, that time and smothered by Condon. So a good forecheck by the Komets results in a quality shot from the top of the circle by Schrock.
Good third guy high there, the captain, Kaylee Schrock, standing right in the middle of the ice. Wheeling had nothing. They tried to fire it cross ice. Kaylee was right there. Makes the Richard Sermon interception and then fires it towards goal. And a good save by Condon.
Kent Miller in for the face-off. Again, a left-handed shot, but he turns the stick around because he'll put that right hand across the stick to try to draw it back to the point. That time, though, Wheeling comes away with the puck, and it's dumped into the Komets zone where it's quickly cleared ahead by Lacasse. Willett, little backhand job that goes into the corner. Kent Miller trying to dig it out. But here come the Nailers turning it back the other way. Racing ahead that time is Mulvey, but the Komets again break it up at the blue line. Willett into the zone, pays the price again that time as he dumps it deep into the corner. Miller delivers a check that time on Mulvey. Now it's back to the point. Lacasse just chips a little backhander, controlled by Carter. He turns to try to put it on. It winds up right in front of the net, where it's cleared to center by the Nailers. Again, Komets putting good pressure on. That time that cross-ice pass just carved in off the skate of Mulvey. Quickly breaking out is Lacasse, off the stick of Marino, and it's deep in the corner. Ruop, as he tries to play the puck, and
too many men on somebody.
There is a whistle, and it looks like we are going to get a too many men on the ice.
There's 6 guys on the ice for Wheeling, I think. I'm not very good at math, but yep.
This will come at the 5:25 mark of period 2, and it's the first penalty of the match.
And there was clearly 6 guys on the ice for Wheeling, and not only, it wasn't one of those plays where it was a bad change and there was a guy a couple feet away from their bench, but they had 6 guys playing the puck. That was an obvious call there for Lambert. He makes it, and the Komets go to the power play for the first time on this game. It has struggled mightily. 2 for 30 for their last 35. We're talking about it before the game. It has just been abysmal.
Well, Patrick McGrath will go to the penalty box. Hayes go on the power play. Auger with the one-timer. It's low, right on. The puck is loose. And finally, it's corralled that time by Condon. And again, that time, Willett pays the price with a face wash after the play. And I'm a little surprised Lambert is going to tolerate that kind of stuff because that was obviously well after the play. Back to the point again. Auger to Marino, comes cross ice, side of the net, right in the slot, backhander by Willett. That's blocked that time by the Nailers, and they try to break out, but the Komets regroup. Now Marino, his cross ice pass that time is batted down and snapped into the zone by Tyler Fernandez. Meisner leaves, and here come the K's on the breakout. Coyle again with speed, crosses center ice. Just feathers the puck deep into the corner. Chasing it down is D'Agostino as he tries to clear. And coming away with it right along the boards is Sahir Gill. He has a teammate. Leaves for Sylvester. Tries to weave past the defender. Auger was back checking. And now they clear the zone. But Wheeling will just take a little time off the clock as there is now just over a minute to go in the Komet power play. 13:36 to go in period 2. And it's 1-0 Komets. Ahead to Sylvester. No particular hurry. He'll just chip it into the zone. Coyle backhands it to Auger. And a little bit of a traffic jam there. Now Auger leads the breakout. Crosses center ice. Little backhand pass to Marino in the off wing. Marino is bumped to the ice that time, but kept in by Willett. Now it's knocked down by Dustin Stevenson, and he'll send it the length of the rink. Komets probably have time for one last rush as there's 30 seconds left in the man advantage.
They've not set up at all so far on the power play, with the exception of that first face-off and the shot by Auger. Finally, they break in the zone, see if they can do something with it.
Southbourne tries to center, and it goes off a nailer that time. Stevenson almost guided the puck into his own net. Condon had to be ready. Now here comes a possible 2-on-1. Fernandez with a shot right on, and it's gloved by Meisner, as following the play is Baker. So we're down to the final 10 seconds of the Komet power play, and unfortunately, Chris, unless something happens here, like an end-to-end rush, the power play will again continue to ache for Fort Wayne.
I mean, they went out and they hired Konstantin Shafronov, who was in town. He's coaching the AWP youth team, and they brought him in because he is a wealth of knowledge with the man advantage and specialty teams, trying to get something going. And Shafronov's magic not going to work so far in the first power play.
Nutkevitch wins the draw from McClellan. Lacasse tries to break out, but McClellan chases him down from behind, almost picks his pocket. Now the Komets control the zone. Nutkevitch slides by his defender. A shot off the goal post. Oh, that had Condon beat, but it caromed off the far post. Now back at center ice, the Komets will regroup. Hartman. That pass was off the skate of Schrock. Look out, Sylvester trying to bust in with speed, but quickly the Komets control. Now back into the Wheeling zone. Komets have done a great job of bottling up the Nailers so far. That was almost an offside. McClellan managed to keep a skate on the blue line, tries to fend off the defender in center. Here's from the point, Ratchuk right through the slot, puts it on goal, kicked out that time by Meisner. Great save. They battle along the wall. Now McClellan pinches in. Gets his arms around Lacasse that time. Hartman breaks out for the Komets, crosses center ice, dumps it deep in the corner. Carter looks to chase it down, but Condon rings it around the boards. Willett is there to keep it in. Puts the shot right on off the pad, and again kicked out that time by Condon. Both goaltenders playing very well. Now Willett, that time off the stick of Carter. He leaves for Kenton Miller as the teams continue to change on the fly. That goes off the skate that time of Sahir Gill. And now here come the Nailers back the other way with 11:24 to go in period 2. End-to-end action. The Komets hanging on to that 1-0 lead on the first period goal by Simone Danis-Pépin.
A lot of pace to this game right now. Haven't had a whistle in quite a while. Both teams really getting into a flow of things.
And again, it's just chipped right toward the goal by Carter, and Condon says we do need a timeout here with this end-to-end play. So we have 11 minutes and 6 seconds to go here in period number 2. The Komets on top of Wheeling 1-0. You're
View Sports Medicine.
the draw in the Wheeling zone. Another shot right on, and it was repelled that time by Condon. Nailers looking to break out, but the Komets control now near center ice. Kind of an errant pass goes behind Embach, and here come the Nailers. McClellan bumped off by Danis-Pépin. He shakes free of that. Now Marino steps into him. Southorn will bump Sylvester off the play, and here come the Nailers, though, trying to put some pressure. Komets on top, 1-0. A shot right through the slot goes off the skate of Southorn. He was busy with Sylvester. Now that is fanned on by Fernandez. There's a bit of a break, and Embach tries to feed it ahead. It was off of a Nailer stick, and now here comes Baker looking to break in. Well, I'll tell you what, the fans here thought that was a little bit of a hook. Again, no call by the referee Lambert, and the Komets bring it back the other way. Auger faked the big drive, just dumped it out. Now here's Lacasse. His shot through a maze of players right in front. That time fanning on it on an attempt to pick up the loose change was Embach. 10 minutes even to go in period 2. The Komets still on top, 1-0 here in Wheeling. A critical game for both teams as Wheeling leads the Komets by 2 points for the 8th and final playoff spot in the East with 33 games to go. Still a lot of hockey left, but you clearly want to pick up points when possible, especially against a key opponent. That's the case with the Komets and the Nailers, and Fort Wayne has never defeated Wheeling in 4 meetings. Now, Nutkevitch comes across. Beautiful pass for Schrock, but a little bit in his feet, and he couldn't quite get the finish. Back the other way come the Nailers. Schrock puts the body on his man, Smith. And now it's back in the Wheeling zone. So the Nailers try to get it ahead. And that'll be icing as it was just a little bit too strong. Meisner let it glide by the crease. So 9:15 to go here in period number 2. Komets on top 1-0. They have a 17-12 shot advantage, Chris.
They are dominating the play for the most part, but they need a few more goals because it doesn't matter how much they're dominating. That's not a stat on the scoreboard because they're still only up by 1 goal. They need to get some insurance goals here in the second period.
Now that time Miller has the draw go away from him, and here come the Nailers again looking to get anything going. Willett does a good job of fending off Gill. Now Willett, that went off the skate that time of the Wheeling player Mulvey, but it winds up back in the Nailers zone. Kenton Miller with the good pressure, as does Willett, chasing down Nick D'Agostino. 2 Komets in the corner. Now the puck comes back the other way, and here come the Nailers looking for the breakout. Now Smith having trouble controlling at the blue line, so the Komets just dump it back into neutral ice. A big hit that time delivered by Martini on Colin Mulvey, so the Komets decide we better start playing the body. Centering pass comes to the point. That time the shot went off of the leg of Mulvey, and the Komets looking to break out. And there's going to be a penalty coming up, and it'll be a delayed penalty on Wheeling. Oh, fanning on the one-timer was Willette. Carter centers. Kenton Miller with the drive. And finally, it's touched up by Arashenko, but there will be a high sticking call going against the Wheeling Nailers, and the Komets go back on another power play. 8:16 to go in period number 2. We'll take a break. The Komets lead 1-0, and you're watching My Komets on My TV.
Kasan's Fifth Down Bar and Grill is the place to be.
Sports Medicine.
Komets go on the power play. 8:16 to go in period 2. 1-0 Komets. The draw goes back to Auger in the point, but his shot is blocked. Now Sahir Gill tries to ring it around. It takes a funny carom off the boards, and it's cleared away. Good job that time by Jace Coyle to avoid the forecheck that time of Sylvester. Now Sylvester takes him off the puck. Oh, Coyle going in. He takes his man off the play, and Coyle's going to get a penalty. And again, takes a shot afterwards, so Coyle delivers a shot, and you can tell the physical intensity is picking up between both teams, but just 22 seconds into the power play, you could see it coming, and Coyle will now go off.
Nothing can go right for them on the power play. This time, they don't even get through the full 2 minutes. They take a penalty, and you got to watch out here for Wheeling. They've scored 4 4-on-4 goals this season and only given up 1. They're a team that has a lot of speed, and they're very good when the numbers drop down by 1 to 4-on-4. So we got to watch out here if you're a Komets fan, because Wheeling's going to be threatening.
Well, an aggressive play made by Coyle, but after he stepped into his man the first time, he made sure he took him off the play and then some. Draw is controlled by the Komets, so we will have some 4-on-4 hockey.
The problem was, I mean, there was no need for him to really be down there. He was a defenseman. He was playing the point. He was trying to be aggressive on the power play, but he was in too deep, and he took a penalty 200 feet away from his own net. Or should I say a little less than 200, because we have a small rink here.
Szydlowski with a big drive up in the high slot, and that was smothered that time by Condon. So Coyle goes off for tripping at the 12:06 mark. So we've got about 22 seconds of 4-on-4 play. Again, 1-0 Komets here at West Banco Arena in Wheeling, West Virginia. 7:37 to go in period 2. Komets looking for a big win to start a 3 games in 4 nights week. Now Ratchuk, the former Komet with speed, enters the zone, leaves that time for McClellan, but a great job by Southorn to block the puck. He paid the price, but he is ailing, and he's going to try to get off the ice in the slot, and he scores. The injury to Southorn hurt the Komets. That left the slot wide open, and McClellan slid the low shot past Meisner. We are tied at 1.
You said it right there. Southorn was out of the play. He was trying to get back into it, but even if he would have got back in the play, he was limping on his right leg, wide open in the slot, and McClellan just beats Meisner right along the ice, and that ties up the game. As I was saying during break, doesn't matter how much you're dominating by, one shot is all it takes to tie up the game, and then those, controlling the play numbers don't matter at all.
Well, that was just a tough break because Southorn did what he was supposed to do, especially as a defenseman, go down and block the shot, but it caught him in a tough spot, and Southorn is going to leave the ice. He's heading for the training room, so obviously this could be a tough injury for the Komets as one of the top defensemen has to leave. They had a promotion here tonight here at West Banco Arena that when the Nailers score the first goal, kind of a la the Komets teddy bear toss, everybody was supposed to bring gloves and throw their gloves on the ice. So there's a little bit of a delay here while they're cleaning up the numerous gloves that were showered upon the ice. But the goal goes to Jack McClellan, comes at the 12:41 mark to tie the game 1-1.
That's his 9th goal on the season. And for the Wheeling Nailers, I said it before, 5 4-on-4 goals coming in to that. Now they have 6 on the season. When it's 4-on-4, Wheeling knows what to do, and they did it there. Ratchuk's going to get an assist, his 8th point versus the Komets all time since leaving Fort Wayne. Man, this guy is saying, what did you do getting rid of me? Because I'm going to come back and bite you every time. He does it again.
Yeah, that is from the biting the hand that once fed you card. Exactly. So the goal by McClellan, number 9, the assist to the former Komet Mike Ratchuk coming at the 12:41 mark here at period 2. We are all even at a goal apiece. And again, Jordan Southorn, the Komets' big defenseman, left the ice. That whole play started when Southorn went down to block a shot, and as he was trying to regain his footing. He just couldn't quite really get power on his skates, and a great centering pass by Ratchuk. McClellan left all alone right between the circles, and he slid the low shot past Meisner. So we're even at 1. The teams come back to center. It'll be Baker against Nutkevitch on the draw. A little bit of a false start there.
Southorn's a tough guy, the Montreal, Quebec native. I mean, when he goes off like that, you know something's wrong. It's not an equipment issue, especially after we saw that. I mean, he's really hurt, and hopefully it's not a broken foot or something.
Stevenson dumps it into the corner where the race is won by Baker. And it's centering pass to Baker, shot right on, and a great save that time by Meisner, who had to be ready. Good hustle that time by Baker.
Going from his left to his right, Meisner, right down in the butterfly, beautiful save.
Now back the other way, the Komets returning the favor, putting some pressure on. That time Marino tries to feed it back to the point, but it split the defenders, goes all the way back into the Komet zone behind the goal, and cycling back out is Lacasse. Now Lacasse crosses the blue line, dumps it behind the goal. Marino tries to control the puck, and again, in that chippy pass, goes into no man's land. Gill races in, tries to control, but a couple of Komet defenders there to move the puck away, but McClellan just dumps it into the corner. Racing it on the play is D'Agostino from his defensive spot. And now wheeling a little more pep in its step. Little cross-ice pass to D'Agostino. Martini takes it away. And now there's about 12 seconds of power play time for the Nailers, so they'll just snap the biscuit right in behind the goal where Gill will control. Off of his stick, he's ridden off by Hartman. Served back to the point, but nobody there. They were in a line change. Marino races out for the Komets. Now he'll circle as the Komets get back to full strength, so the power play is up. Tried to get the pass to Auger, and it was intercepted, so here come the Nailers again. Could not split Martini and Danis-Pépin as McClellan fired up by his tying goal, trying to bid for another. Now the Komets dump it deep in the zone. Run down that time by Chinfrini. 5.5 minutes to go, period 2. We are tied at 1 in Wheeling. Komets again now trying to put the pressure on. Just served back into the corner by Embach. Auger given a ride. Embach comes along near the half wall. Now into the corner. Ridden off the play that time by Baker. That time that was chopped out of his hands. That could have been a slash when you chop the stick out of there, but no call. Now they pinch along the boards as they battle right in front of the Komet bench. And here's Eroshenko. Ahead to Chinfrini. Now Paul Chinfrini comes cross-ice off the boards. It tips off the stick of Mulvey. Mulvey puts a little bit of a blade into Hartman as they battle behind the boards, where it is collected by Willett. He comes cross-ice to Lacasse. Now here's Lacasse, 4:44 to go in the period of a 1-1 game. He snaps the shot just a little bit wide. Willett comes back the other way. That caroms off the side of the net. Kenton Miller collects the loose change in front. He can't put it away. So the team's going end-to-end right now. This has been a very, very fast-paced game as Lacasse surveys the landscape behind his net. A cross-ice pass intended for Willett. Deep into the corner. Komets go for a line change. And now, Nick D'Agostino. It's a wild, loose pass. And, it goes off the stick of Schrock as he couldn't tee it up for a shot. Now a cross-ice pass intended for Sylvester. Got into the feet of Coyle. Winds up back at neutral ice. 4 minutes even to go, period 2 of a 1-1 game. McClellan steps into Martini. And here come the Nailers. Ahead to Sylvester. Sylvester tries to get it across to McClellan. Into the corner. It's just snapped around the boards. Ruop comes in. Gives Schrock a rough ride. Gill is bumped off the play by Martini. Now back to Ruop. Ruop feeds it to the point. That time a shot is off the skate that time in Nutkevitch. Coyle comes cross-ice. And it's left ahead for Embach. His wrist shot is right on and gloved by Condon. So we'll have a whistle and a face-off with 3:30 to go in period number 2. Good news, Southorn is returning to the ice. A 1-1 tie, and this really has been end-to-end action. The Komets, though, Chris, still have the shot advantage, 20-13.
How to beat him here?
Well, Auger continues to joust on face-offs with Baker, and Auger lost a stick, so he gathers a new twig as he goes by the Komet bench. And deep in the Komet quarter, Danis-Pépin slides the check for Baker, but hustling in is Fernandez. Looks to get it back to the point. That time trying to tee it up was Eroshenko, but it caroms off a stick into the corner. And now it's the Nailers with the pressure. Drive from the point. That goes right off the body of Meisner as a quick little laser by Eroshenko. And now it's the Nailers stepping up the forecheck.
As you see, Marino down helping out low.
Yeah.
As I discussed earlier, the wingers are so low for Fort Wayne. Really gives them a lot of time to get out of the zone as they did just right there.
That was a little scrum in the corner. Now there's an errant pass. Oh, Auger just misses going top corner, stick side, and we'll have a whistle and a face-off.
Auger's frustrated with himself. And you get a puck right there, right in the prime scoring area in the middle of the slot. You're always frustrated when you miss the net like that. And I think he had Condon beat above the pad, below the blocker, but wasn't on the frame of the net. And it popped up high and went out of play.
Well, we talked about this earlier. This West Banco Arena, built in the 70s, seats about 5,000 people. And it's a shorter surface, about 190 feet, much like Kalamazoo from end to end, versus the 200 feet of the Coliseum, so the neutral zone is compressed. So has been the scoring, 1-1 with 2:26 to go. Now McClellan was looking for a trip call on the Komets. Well, clearly Pierre Lambert, the referee, is letting the teams play as the Komets break out. Lacasse comes across to Carter. His shot is just steered a little bit wide that time by the big stick of Condon. Now Ruop, who's been stepping into Komets since the national anthem, puts a body that time into Miller. Wheeling looks to break out. Here's McClellan, who has the Wheeling goal. He'll just feather it into the zone as now the Nailers go for a change. Racing in, though, is Alexandre Carrier. Lacasse comes away for the Komets with speed, but intercepted that time, and back the other way comes Baker. Baker in the off wing, fires, and that's right into the body of Meisner. And meanwhile, Schrock will add a little face wash after the play.
Yeah. Gets that smelly old glove right into his face. That is never fun. If you've never had a face wash or never really played hockey before and smell a hockey glove, you don't know what we're talking about, but I can't think of anything that smells worse than a hockey glove, especially when it's right in your face. You get it in your mouth. You got a nasty taste in your mouth. And, you know, face washes are way more frustrating than you'd think, as you got that smelly glove right in your face.
Most people, and you've played the game, I've played the game, they say, you know, if you've got your equipment, you've had it for a while, many will speculate that hockey equipment can actually walk on its own. So Gill on the draw against Nutkevitch. And it just sits there in the dot, and finally it's poked into the Comet corner. Martini tries to get it ahead to Szydlowski off the skate of Schrock, and Schrock looks to break out. Schrock dumps it into the far corner, chased down by Szydlowski. Oh, it's chipped right near the front of the net area. And now here come the Nailers breaking out with 4. Chipped into the Comet zone, and first man in is Sahir Gill. He loses an edge. Coyle is stepped into that time by Max McKay. Players fly, and a big collision that time between Mulvey, who loses his hat, and now we have another Comet hurt, and it looks like it's Nutkevitch, who maybe has a tender hoof. A little drop pass is left that time for McKay. He whistles that high and wide as Mulvey, Son's helmet, has to race over to the bench. We're under a minute to go here in period number 2, and now we have a whistle and a face-off.
Not sure why, though. Did you see what the signal was there, Kent?
I think they may be called an offside.
I don't know, because, I mean, Nutkevitch had the puck in the zone, and everybody was behind him. I'm not sure what was that. Maybe a hand pass? I don't know. You might be right. It might have been offside. I just didn't see it.
Auger against McClellan. 56 seconds to go here in period 2. A 1-1 hockey game. It's been a dandy, but goals have been at a premium. Now it's dropped back where Nick D'Agostino controls for the Nailers. Comes cross ice to his mate, Harrison Ruop. Komets again break it up at neutral ice, but here comes McClellan, who has the lone goal of this period, and that's played with a high stick by Simone Danis-Pépin. That was a little dangerous because it looked like the puck came right down on the helmet of Cody Sylvester. And I think some of the fans and even Sylvester is questioning Pierre Lambert whether the stick of Simone Danis-Pépin hit not only the puck but his helmet. They were looking for a high sticking instead of playing the puck with a high stick.
The Wheeling faithful hoping for that first power play with longevity. They had one for about 20 seconds, but that's it.
Well, Auger controls the draw from Gill. Now 36 seconds to go, but a wild carom off the board. Southhorn steps into Gill. Good to see Southhorn back on the ice. Now McKay trying to figure out a way to center right at the side of the net. Gill digs for the puck. Comes back to the point. Ruop comes over to D'Agostino. His shot is on right in front. Oh, that time Gill was leveled by Danis-Pépin. and the puck just slid past Meisner. Now Baker, McKay is stepped into by Danis-Pépin, comes back to the point. That's whistled wide. Embach controls for the Komets, only 5 seconds. Marino will have to turn it loose. Marino, can he shoot before the buzzer? He can't. And I don't think he could look up. You only have the one big clock right at center ice, so Marino didn't know you were down to the final seconds. So again, it has been a wild hockey game. This time it's Wheeling with the lone goal at period number 2. We are tied at 1 after 40 minutes of play. We'll take a break and have our second intermission. We'll recap what's gone on so far here at Westbanco Arena. You're watching My Komets on My TV.
Behind victories on the season, looking for their 7th because they got scored on first. So this period, Fort Wayne better come out and be ready for the Nailers because they're going to come on strong. And like you were talking, they need to get these 2 points in regulation because even if they get a win, they're not going to catch Wheeling if they go to extra time.
Yes.
Because Wheeling would receive a point, and it might not even win it because they're so bad in the extra frame.
Kent Miller wins the third period draw from Gill, and the Komets control, dump it into the zone. Stevenson gives pursuit as Miller races in, gives him a little bump, and immediately Willett loses an edge and falls in the corner. Now breaking out the other way is Colin Mulvey. Mulvey still has the puck. Tries to feed it back right through the middle, and a shot right on, steered aside that time by Meisner. So the opening 20 seconds, Meisner had to be Johnny on the spot. Now the Komets look to break out. Miller is stepped into heavily, but that time the guy who fired the check hit the ice. Oh, Carter gets his own rebound, and he shoots it through the crease behind Condon. Another shot right on. That winds up at the side of the net from Hartman. Some glorious opportunities for the Komets in the first 40 seconds here at period 3. 1-1. As Willett just takes a look and tees it up, fires it back into the corner as he goes for a line change. Embach is on. He's rubbed off the play that time by Arashenko. Now here come the Nailers. Again, just flipped in, and that gets over Southorn. You know that was high if it gets over Southorn, who's a big guy. Southorn just bullies his guy right to the ice, doesn't let him up for a while. Finally, Carrier regains his edge, and he'll chase the puck down in the corner. Southorn gets the inside track. Now Carrier steps into Southorn. Back the other way, here's Auger on the wing. Tries to leave, but not there for Embach, and breaking back the other way, here comes McClellan. McClellan tries to center. Marino steps ahead. Feeds a little chip pass to Auger. Auger will try to chase it down. He's being pursued by Rupp, who steps into him heavily and rattles the glass.
That guy is just running around, hitting anything that moves. I'm surprised he hasn't accidentally hit his own players a few times. He is just flying out there with the body and the physicality.
Now Coyle, fine rushing defenseman, right from the goal line, fires a really bad angle shot. That was just parallel with the goal line, gloved by Condon. So they'll face it off to the left of the goaltender, Mike Condon, a Montreal Canadiens prospect. 18-12 to go in period 3. We are tied at 1 from the Westbanco Arena. And don't forget to join Tommy Schegler with Sound Off with the Komets Mondays, 7:30 on 21 Alive, live from Champion Sports Bar. Always great Komet conversation. Now Nutkevitch tries to pinch it along the wall. Now McGrath plays. And it's collected by Szydlowski at center. Back into the point. Martini comes cross ice. And here's a pass off the boards, and Szydlowski can't quite play it. Tries to glide past his man McGrath. Now coming out is Ratchuk. Look for a breakout pass, but batted away by Coyle. And now Nutkevitch controls for the Komets. Hayes look to break it in. Big drive by Coyle goes wide. Chasing it down is Szydlowski. Looks to center. That time Schrock just chips it back behind the net. Skating out is Stevenson, but the Komets intercept. Looking for a centering pass. Oh, what a nifty little move by Szydlowski, but nobody home. Kept in at the point, though, and that shot goes past the blocker of Condon. And here come the Nailers back the other way. Now Chinfrini backhands the pass back behind him to Stevenson. Now it's dumped into the Komet zone, where it's gathered by Lacasse. Again, the physicality is ramping up, and it's been end-to-end play. Not many whistles, not many penalties, and just 2 total goals, one by each team.
Oh.
And that wound up right in front of the net and had to be guided away that time by Condon. Now here come the Nailers as Gill tries to break out, split a couple of defenders. Hartman gives pursuit. Tries to bump Gill off the play. Coming out of it, though, is Mulvey as he's hounded by Lacasse. A lot of action going on behind the Comet goal right now. Lacasse is pinned there, and here comes Hartman. Feeding it ahead, Willett comes across to Miller. Miller headmans it, a little too strong that time for Carter. Harrison Ruop. Oh, good poke check that time by Carter, and racing in is Miller. Miller has the puck. Ruop tries to give him a rough ride. Now Marino collects at center ice for the Komets, waits for his man to get onside. Now Marino, the league's leading scorer, just tries to feather a pass ahead, too strong for Southorn, who is breaking in from the point. Here's Auger pursuing Ruop. Komets' number one line is out right now of Marino, Embach, and Auger. Here is Jordan Southorn. Looks none the worse for wear from that foot injury he suffered in period 2 that caused him to go to the training room briefly.
He's a tough character as Southorn. Big 6'3" defenseman.
Nailers look to break out with numbers. Good back check by Embach, and he deflects the centering pass. Good hustle by Mike Embach. Now a pass goes between the skates of Auger. Racing back on the play is Paul Cinfrini. He stops behind the goal, reverses field. That's stepped into by Marino, who saw that pass coming. Looks for Embach. Now Embach has the pass poked away, and back the other way comes McClellan. And it's McClellan racing in on Jace Coyle. Coyle slides the puck away, now comes up to Marino at the high wall. He goes cross ice where it's gathered in, and here comes Martini. Martini takes the body check that time from McClellan. Embach with a tough angle shot. That caroms off the arm of Condon. Embach has it, comes back to the point, but sneaking in is Baker. Baker looks to break in one-on-one. Weaves, fires, and that caroms off the shin that time of Martini. Goes up into the netting. And we'll have a whistle and a face-off. 14:53 to go in period 3 from Westbanco Arena. And we are tied at a goal apiece.
Well, that gives you some time to catch your breath there. Back and forth action we go. We haven't had a whistle in quite a long time. Finally, we get one. The Komets leading in shots 21-16. In the third period, trying to break through Condon's brick wall down in the Wheeling goal.
Baker in on the draw against Nutkevitch, and here comes Schrock breaking out with speed as he tries to slide by his defender Stevenson. Schrock loses the biscuit briefly. Now he's got it again. Leaves it for Szydlowski. Szydlowski breaks in front. Szydlowski with a backhander. No, not the first time. The second time the Komets poke it in and score. What effort that time by Szydlowski, and the Komets take a 2-1 lead.
Szydlowski would not say no. He comes out of the corner like a bull in a china shop, just going towards the front of the net, getting checked by everybody on the ice for Wheeling. He just fires the net. He gets 3 whacks at it, maybe even 4. And finally, the puck gets past Condon. What a play by Szydlowski. The 6-foot, 208-pounder gets his 3rd goal on the season, 6th point, and he gives the Komets a huge goal. As they go back in advantage.
Back to center ice they come. Miller wins the draw. That goal coming at the 5:27 mark. Sean Szydlowski with great 2nd, 3rd, possibly 4th effort.
Yes. St. Clair Shores, Michigan native, gets the big goal for Fort Wayne. Now they got to hold the lead. That's been the problem this year in the 3rd. They get the big goal. Now they got to play a full 20 minutes here in the 3rd and finish it off. 14:06 left.
Well, the assists go to Captain Kaylee Schrock and William Lacasse. Goal number 3 for Sean Szydlowski. 2-1 Komets. We're under 14 minutes to play. A big goal here in the 3rd. Now here comes Miller at the half wall. A couple of nailers on him, and he is nailed that time. Wheeling looking to break out. Good forecheck by Miller. And you can tell this ice is soft as players are losing edges right and left. Now here comes Ratchuk with speed as he cruises in over the Komet zone. Fires the shot right on. Meisner with the save, and he smothers the rebound as that time Carrier comes in and starts some stuff after the whistle. Well, cooler heads prevail, and we have a timeout here at Westbanco Arena.
And now, back to My Komets Hockey on My TV Fort Wayne. Presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.
Now back at Westbanco Arena off the draw, the puck clears the zone. Marino hustles in, and he is stepped into that time with authority by Harrison Ruop. This guy has played the body all night. The Komets lead 2-1, 13:16 to go. Simone Danis-Pépin collects. That pass is a little too strong, and that'll be an icing. So the face-off comes back down into the Komet zone. Komets have outshot the Nailers for the game 23-17. They lead 2-1, just over 13 minutes to go.
This is a big test for Fort Wayne. They've given up 48 third-period goals on the season. That is second worst in the league, only behind 51 from Stockton. Their goal differential, it's 35-48, 35 goals for, 48 goals against. In the third, they need to change that if they want to continue the surge up into the playoffs.
Now the Nailers control the face-off, and Jack McClellan, who has the lone goal of the game for Wheeling, tries to get the puck ahead. Now the Komets pick up a loose puck and dump it into the zone, but they were just on the wrong side of the red line, so that'll be another icing call against the K's. In Cincinnati against the division rival Cyclones.
And if they can come away with a win here, that'll be 6 out of 8 points on the circus break. When's the last time they've had a circus break that successful?
That's a lot of cotton candy there to come away with those road points, big points. Now here come the K's looking to break it in. Again, it's that top line of Auger, Embach, and Marino, but it's controlled by McClellan. He shoots it high off the glass, and that looks like that'll be an icing against Wheeling, and indeed it is.
It's one of those no-touch icing plays. I can't stand that because have you seen the new hybrid icing in the NHL?
Yes.
I love it. I absolutely love it. That's the way I've played when I play club hockey at IPFW. I've seen NCAA hockey go to that too, and it's just, I still like the race for the icings, you know what I mean? And there's good scoring chances, I believe, that are halted because, you blow the whistle because the puck crossed the line. There's a guy 2 inches away, but he's just didn't make it in time. That's why I really wish the race to the hash marks would be implemented here in the ECHL.
You hope it will filter down from the National Hockey League, and I'm all for the safety factor, Chris. I really am. You and I have both played, and especially in this concussion era in all sports, they're erring on the side of caution, as they say. But, yeah, I love the hybrid situation.
It's beautiful.
And at the end of the day, the players have to respect each other. The players have to control these dangerous hits, especially in off-balance situation or blind hits. Now Mike Ratchuk takes a look as he starts it up ice, tries to feed it right ahead at center, spun around is Baker, and the puck still winds up in neutral ice. McGrath is stepped into by Schrock. It's a rare shift for McGrath, who's one of the tough guys on this team. Now McGrath has it, loses his edge, dangerously in the slot, gloved that time by Szydlowski. He's knocked to the ice, and Meisner has to play it before the Komets can finally clear the zone where it's collected by Ratchuk. He comes cross ice, it's whipped in by Dustin Stevenson. Coyle pins Baker along the boards. And Martini to Coyle, who just flips it back towards center ice. That goes off the skate of Ratchuk, and the long reach that time is Szydlowski. Almost got a stick on the puck. Now Miller flips it ahead, but Willett can't settle. 11:16 to go, period 3. Komets hanging on to the 2-1 lead. The lead goal scored by Sean Szydlowski here in the period. Ratchuk looked to feed a cross-ice pass, but nobody home, and that'll be offside. They were in the middle of a shift change, and Patrick McGrath was just getting off the ice, but the puck was coming his way. That was a case in point again, Chris. They were fortunate they didn't get it too many men like they had in the first period.
That's what I was going to say, is they're lucky that McGrath didn't have his man come on the ice for him, because he was heading over, he was yelling 1-1-1, and then he turns around and touches the puck. That's not a smart play to do from the rookie forward who leads the league in fighting majors.
Komets have done a good job controlling face-offs, if not winning them, largely just creating tie-ups where Wheeling has not controlled play off of a face-off, and this will be another icing charged against the Nailers. So I don't know if we're seeing the Komets maybe drop back into more of a defensive posture, and I'm seeing a little frustration set in for Wheeling because it looks like they're going for the home run pass. A lot of icings. I think we've had more icings here through the first 9 minutes and change of period 3 than we had throughout the first 2. Very fast-paced game, and again off the draw. Some good pursuit that time by Willett, who almost picks the pocket, and the puck winds up over the glass.
I think that might be a penalty on Wheeling. Shot it at a play, didn't touch anything. There was a rule that was adopted because of the NHL, and they might get caught here. Well, he pointed to the penalty box. Lambert did.
Now, ultimately, I think he pointed to the dot because he's not assessing a penalty, but I think the Komets were trying to bargain for one.
Me and the guy in the penalty box were all confused. He had the door open and ready to go. Better close that thing.
Sylvester cannot get the puck past Lacasse, who does a good job of blocking it down, then just dumping it into the corner. As we're under 10.5 to play, the Komets on top, 2-1. Sylvester tries to break out. Good back check by Willett. Now here's Lacasse taking a peek over his shoulder. Again, finishing the check is Chinfrini, who raced in from his defensive spot. Komets breaking out, 2-on-2. Willett, little drop pass. Carter! Oh, a good pad save that time by Condon. Now breaking out the other way is McClellan. Tries to cross over and get through the slot. Good poke check that time by Hartman. Deep in the corner, Danis-Pépin comes ahead to Miller by 1, by 2. Now he comes across, a little too strong for Willett. Clock winds down under 10 minutes. Here come the Nailers. Good pass ahead to Mulvey. His shot hits the post. Oh, what a great play that time as it came off the post, and then Southward slid across the block, and he attempted a rebound. Slick play that time, and the Komets dodge one. And a great job by Colin Mulvey to control the puck there for that sequence. Now the Komets go offside. It's just dumped in, but on the touch-up, they'll clear the zone, and they play on. Here comes Mulvey, who just missed tying the game, as again he tries to split the defenders, almost does, but Coyle races over to clear the puck aside. Now it's Fernandez in the high slot. Now the Komets break out with a possible 2-on-1. Here comes Embach. Embach fires off the pad that time of Condon.
Condon is so good down low, down to the butterfly. Signed as a free agent out of Princeton University.
Big drive the other way by McKay is kicked aside by Ben Meisner. So now things opening up a little bit. Teams playing with a little more desperation, especially Wheeling. Baker flips it in, goes for a line change. Martini, little backhand pass to Coyle. Now he'll spin away from his forechecker as Max McKay tries to apply some pressure. Players are finishing their checks in this one. We're around 8.5 to go. Here is Marino. Marino working through traffic. Serves it into the corner. Nutkevitch chases it down. Ruop gives him the hard hit. Nutkevitch stays with it. Now Szydlowski keeps it in deep. Here's Nutkevitch. Tries to get it back to the point. Kept in, and that time Lacasse, he takes the hit after the play by Correa. Right in front, it's Szydlowski. The shot is blocked. Komets again.
Wow.
Putting on tons of pressure. Nutkevitch is drilled to the ice that time, again by Ruop.
What a horrible defensive breakdown by Wheeling. Puck comes right to the front, and the Komets had Nutkevitch and Szydlowski right in front, but then they could not converge.
Nick D'Agostino dumps it in deeply. Lacasse has his skates bumped out from underneath him by McClellan, and the K's look to break out. Here is Willett. Willett gains the zone. He's steered off the play that time by D'Agostino. Komets look to center. Can't quite get it done, and it clears the zone. Another big hit that time. Sylvester stands into Miller. And now, behind the play, Sylvester a little stick work on Kent Miller. 7.5 minutes left in regulation. Komets clinging to the 2-1 lead. Now back in the Komet zone, Southhorn takes a look, comes across to Danis-Pépin. His board pass too strong for Miller. That'll be icing on the Komets. And we are now down to 7 minutes, 18 seconds to go in period number 3. The Komets on top by the score of 2-1. The big third period goal by Sean Szydlowski, his third of the season. That came at the 5:27 mark.
Huge goal for Fort Wayne, and they're still hanging on strong. They've kind of settled back into more of a 1-2-2 forecheck, so more passive through the neutral zone.
Yep.
They're really shutting things down, but they're still allowing a few breaks that Wheeling has had recently.
Komets control another face-off ahead to Marino. He's had a rather quiet night. Marino's made some good defensive plays. Here come the Nailers breaking in. Big drive that time by Baker, kicked out by Meisner. Nailers had numbers, but again, Ben Meisner up to the task. He's made some big saves in this game. Now under 7 minutes to play.
That was a bad change by Fort Wayne. A quick counterattack by Wheeling nearly cost the Komets their lead.
Auger just flips it high, and Condon reels it in with the glove. So we finally have a timeout here in the period. This has been a fast-paced game. You'd think people...
Ford Way, presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.
Back to action at West Banco Arena. The Komets again trying to control play, but the Nailers get it deep in the zone. Martini fires the pass around the boards. Coyle, though, is picked off by Sahir Gill. Now the K's again just looking to clear. Here's a pass up the center. Embach, though, won't be able to win the race, as that time D'Agostino hustled back, but the Komets intercept, but it will be offside.
Well, a break, I guess.
Yeah, well, they have had so few timeouts, so we have another timeout here. 6:11 to go in period number 3. We'll take another break. The Komets.
Back to My Komets Hockey on My TV Fort Wayne. Presented by Parkview Sports Medicine.
Back to action here at West Banco Arena in Wheeling. The Komets and the Nailers. The K's have numbers at 2-on-1. Nutkevitch comes right across the shot. Score! Kaylee Schrock! What a tremendous play as the Komets came in 2-on-1. Nutkevitch, a perfect pass to Schrock, and again he beats Condon High. Huge goal for the Komets.
That was a Schrocket from Kaylee as he had the puck on the 2-on-1. Beautiful pass from Nutkevitch, and he puts it top shelf where Mama hides the cookies. And the fans here are not pleased by any stretch of the imagination because the linesman got in the way of Ratchuk on the back check in Wheeling. Their bench is just all over the refereeing crew right now, and that allowed the 2-on-1 to happen. The linesman jumps up, gets out of the way. Komets probably didn't get a goal there, so thank you to the linesman if you're a Fort Wayne player. Unfortunate break for Wheeling, but that's the way she goes sometimes. And the Komets have the 2-goal advantage.
Well, you're right. The Wheeling bench is absolutely steaming, especially head coach Clark Donatelli. Kaylee Schrock picks up goal number 5.
Assisted by number 19.
Nutkevitch picks up the assist at the 14:20 mark. And Szydlowski also picks up a helper. Here's Willette. Little toe drag backhander just goes to the side of the net. Komets on top 3-1. Willette bidding for another goal.
What a play. He just hit the side of the net oh so close. But some silky mitts there from Willette. He nearly had the 4th Komet goal.
Now the Komets looking for a little bit of history in their year-and-a-half membership in the ECHL. They've never beaten Wheeling in 4 previous tries. They're under 5 minutes away from doing just that for the first time, leading 3-1 at the 4:50 mark. Schrock just picked up his 5th of the season from Nutkevitch and Szydlowski at the 14:20 mark.
Who says all he can do is fight? That was a beautiful shot right there.
I don't think it's a coincidence that Kaylee Schrock's all-around play has really stepped up since they put the C on his sweater. Boy, that time Danis-Pépin delivered a tremendous check into Stevenson in the corner. Komets trying to take the will out of the Nailers with 4.5 to go, and Embach put himself offside. So now we're down to 4:24 in regulation. And that was a return of the favor from that big body check deep in the corner, as Danis-Pépin was leveled that time behind the play by Stevenson. So things are boiling over from the Nailers' perspective. There has to be a penalty issued to Stevenson.
Nothing. Wow. Wouldn't that be a battle of the Giants there? 6'5", Dustin Stevenson, the captain for the Wheeling Nailers, and you got 6'7", Danis-Pépin. Boy, that would be a fun little battle. Now we got Embach and McGrath. McGrath, a little ball of hate. Him and Embach are going to get matching minors here.
Yep.
Embach's kind of saying, I was just standing there, and McGrath slashing me in the ankle. I don't know what I got a penalty for, but they both get the gate.
That comes at 15:36. So McGrath and Embach for slashes.
I mean, McGrath can't go a game without getting a penalty. I mean, he's sitting there. He's like, I got to get something, but I try not to hurt my team, right?
And they always seem to be, me penalties?
That's that's his apartment. That's what the team gave him, right in the penalty box there.
But that's not a trade the Komets were looking for.
No, not at all.
A guy like McGrath taking off a skill guy like Embach. But the Komets now have the clock on their side as it winds down to 4 minutes to go. Komets on top 3-1, skating right in front that time. Trying to get the shot off was Baker, but he was tied up. Now he's sent to the ice, and they're going to call a penalty on the Komets. Looked like he just lost an edge. Now, of all the times for Lambert to decide he's going to get involved, it looks like he'll call a cross-check on Danis-Pépin. And here we go.
Fort Wayne finds himself down 4-on-3. Wheeling does have one 4-on-3 power play goal this season. And they're going to have a lengthy power play for a minute and 32, or a full 2 minutes. Well, they'll be 4-on-3 for a minute and 32, barring any goals. But on the season, their power play percentage is 12.5, which is 19th best in the league. and they're 0 for 3 in their last 7 games when they haven't scored a power play goal. So this is big.
Gary Graham will tell you his guys always find a way to make a third period interesting, even when it looks like they're in good shape. 3:40 to go, but the Nailers trailing 3-1 on the power play. Komets playing the diamond right now on the PK. Big drive by Gill, and that caroms away that time. Looked like it might have got a piece of McKay and steered away. And now the Komets intercept. Auger will just take his time and let it seep off the clock. Good play by Auger. And now he goes back to assume a defensive position. 3:16 in regulation, and now breaking out is Nick D'Agostino.
Close offside there.
Yeah, it sure was. Now it comes back. McClellan at the point, comes across to D'Agostino, now back to McClellan. His drive is low, and again, that caroms away. McClellan has the lone goal of the game for the Nailers, down under 3 minutes to go. And breaking out, here comes Southorn. He's got Auger with him. Southorn steps the shot, and it's blocked that time and then smothered by Condon. Well, even though they're down, you had a breakout with Southorn and OJ, and Southorn a sneaky little shot, and Condon had to be ready. 2:50 to go in the match. Komets still lead 3-1.
That was a smart job by OJ. You know, normally on a 2-on-1, you just bust hard to the net right there, and he kind of hung back and stayed parallel to Southorn, thinking if there's a turnover, he's got to get back, because Southorn's flying with the puck. So that's a smart little play you might not notice by OJ, but I caught it right away. Him coming in slow, not going hard to the net. He was still there for the rebound, but Compton didn't give up one. And back the other way comes Wheeling.
Still 20 seconds of 4-on-3 hockey. Now Coyle will joust in the corner. That time with D'Agostino, and here come the Nailers again. Back to the point it goes. Ratchuk, who has really bitten the hand that once fed him a lot, takes the return pass. Now a big drive on the one-timer, and that was D'Agostino, and that shot wide. Now it's 5-on-4 hockey. We're down to 2:16 to go, and the Komets clear, and it'll just skitter into the Wheeling zone where it's collected by Mike Condon. Some pressure applied by Embach as we wind down to 2 minutes to go. And again, that time Baker tries to split the zone, can't, following is Ratchuk, and it's smothered by Meisner.
You got Ratchuk, who is a dangerous defenseman. Right in the slot. He's got 7 goals on the season. He fires the wrister. Good save by Meisner. And Ratchuk looking for his 9th point against Fort Wayne since leaving. This guy's been on fire. Got an assist tonight, but they've held him from the goal column, which is something they've had trouble doing this season.
1:58 to go in the match. 2 seconds left on the power play. Komets on top, 3-1. A big face-off.
Huge face-off here.
Baker. Nutkevitch, it does go back to the point, but the penalty is up, and the shot is blocked and caroms into the corner. Komets break it out. Marino feeds it to center. That's a little snug for Danis-Pépin. Backing him up, though, is Martini, and the Komets will just dump it in. Baker steps right into the face that time of Embach. Got him somewhere. I don't know if the shield banged into his head, so we have another Komet hurt. Embach has to race back into the play, but he needs a change. Looked like he had some sort of a face injury. Here's Szydlowski across to Marino. Marino can't quite reel it in. Comes across and again shoots it right into Condon. He'll smother for the face-off. 1:23 to go. 3-1 Komets. I'll tell you what, this team tonight, Chris, has paid the price, taking some big hits from this Wheeling team.
Actually, I think that was Martini that got hit in the face, which might be worse because you don't want to lose a defenseman in this situation.
It was Martini, you're right. It was Martini who got hit high.
And that's a dangerous play. I was frightened right at the beginning because he was holding his eye. Looked like Charlie Conway from the Mighty Ducks.
Well, you wondered if, in those visors, they can be kind of ground into your forehead or your face a little bit if there's enough impact.
Yeah.
Now down to 1:16, so it was 25, not 15. Embach who took that high hit. And the Komets just keeping the pressure on. Willett, who is so strong on his skates and strong with the stick, just keeps the puck moving. And again, another player loses an edge. That time, D'Agostino. 1 minute left in the game. Drive from the point, and that time it hit McClellan, and now he is hobbling. The Komets are just letting the clock do the work now. Willett takes the heavy hit. Komets keep the pressure on. That time the shot is wide. Southorn pinches in, then thinks wiser of it. And the K's will just drop back in a defensive posture. 40 seconds to go. Ratchuk tries to wheel. They're going to pull the goaltender for an extra attacker, so Condon is on the bench. Southorn, a nifty little play to feather it ahead, and here come the Komets. Little backhand flip is just wide that time by Szydlowski, bidding for another goal. Down to 24 seconds to play. The Komets look to be in pretty good shape for their first ever win over Wheeling.
6 extra attacker goals on the season for Wheeling. They know what to do with the extra attacker. Only got 12 seconds left, though.
Stevenson kept it in. Now we're down to the final 10. Shot in front. Puck bounces around. Danis-Pépin just looks to clear. Can't. Down to the final 5, 4. Goes into the corner, and that will do it. The buzzer, and the Komets have come up with a big road win. The K's first ever victory over the Wheeling Nailers. 2 big third period goals, and the Komets prevail over Wheeling tonight here at West Banco Arena. The final score 3-1 K's.
Fort Wayne at the 18th win of the season, They now have 44 points. And seeing how big this victory was, they are now tied with the Wheeling Nailers. So what a win for Fort Wayne here on the road. On a Wednesday night, they drove up the day of, so it's hard on the legs. But they came away and prevailed with the 3-1 victory. Huge win for the K's.
Well, that'll make that bus ride back to Fort Wayne that much shorter. And again, the Komets now tied with the Nailers for that 8th and final playoff spot in the East. Just a huge win for the K's. Post-game show is coming up next. You're watching My Komets on My TV.
Presented by Parkview Sports Medicine and airing exclusively on My TV